Hi, welcome to the webinar. My name is Shara. I developed the clinical yoga course with Breeze Academy. This is Bella. She features a lot in the clinical yoga online courses, in the videos. So I thought I would bring her for her fan base to say a little hi. Today we're going to chat a little bit about a technique that I developed where you can take a standard sequence, a standard set of poses, and you can target a specific body part, right? So some of our clients will have wrist pain, shoulder weakness, shoulder pain, posture problems. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take the staple of a sun salutation and really target the lower back, okay? When I say target the lower back, we're going to target the parts of the body that influence the lower back. We're going to stretch and strengthen, right? The same sequence of the sun salutations, you can change it up and focus on hips, ankles, neck, shoulder blades, depending on how you do it. So today we're going to go through sun salutation with a little bit of variation, focusing on the lower back. So I'm just going to set up and then we'll get started. Grab a mat or a towel or a carpet, maybe some comfy clothes, and then we can begin. You can experience how it feels. All right, welcome back. Let's begin. So today we're going to focus on lower back. The importance of knowing how to focus and be very intentional in your practice helps with goal setting, as well as helps with planning the sequence that you're going to give your clients or the way you're going to personally practice. So we're going to go over the sun salutations because it's kind of a foundation in most yoga classes. Obviously, not every class, but most. So let's just quickly chat about what affects the lower back. We've got hamstrings, hip flexors, the actual lower back muscles, multifidi and erector spinae, paraspinal muscles. We've got the lats that will affect a little bit of a side bend. We have rectus abdominis. We've got the obliques. And then finally, what we love to work is the transverse abdominis, right? So we have all these aspects that we're going to cover in a typical sun salutation. I am going to include a slight variation, which is quite common, with an Anjaneyasana, a low lunge, to try and get that hip flexor involvement too. What I'd like to emphasize at this point is that although we're going to focus on the lower back today, you can use any sequence, often a sun salutation will occur, to focus on a particular body part. So say you're working on proprioception and balance or power in the hips, you can do the sequence. You're still going to get the benefits that happen at the lower back, but you're going to focus and target the muscle activity and the neuroplasticity, the rewiring for the body part that you're really trying to target. Okay, so based on that, we're going to break down a little bit of the poses in the sequence, and then we'll have a little flow and you can experience what that feels like in your body, okay? As I mentioned, we've got hip flexors, hamstrings, a little bit of glutes, the lower back muscles, the transverse abdominis, rectus abdominis, so your six pack. But then you've also got like little nuances, so your pecs, right? Like I always do this little test with clients with this rounded shoulder like this, and what happens at the lower back, right? So you can see if I'm nice, shoulders back, shoulder blades sliding back, and then as soon as I do this, can you see what happens to my pelvis and my lower back, okay? Hamstrings, if they're tight, it pulls at the the ischial tuberosity and pulls the pelvis kind of, I don't even know if I can do that to myself, kind of like that, right? So then it puts some strain on the lower back because that curve has changed, right? And then we've got the hip flexors. If they're super tight, you're going to get a little bit more of this protrusion of the bumpy, a little bit increased lumbar lordosis, and then more of a pinching posteriorly. Or you kind of see this posture here with tight hamstrings, and then they're trying to get straight or get their ears in line, and then it's kind of shifting and pinching through the lower back. So there's lots of different ways that the person will present. I mean, we've got this one, we've got this one, we've got a little bit of a side bend, maybe a scoliosis. But it doesn't really matter. There's going to be a very generic kind of cueing. And then we're going to go into a flow. So let's start with a typical standing at the top of the mat, right? We're going to first focus on the feet proprioceptively. It's always a good idea to start with the feet, working our way up. Start from the ground, work your way up to the top, start with control, moving up, right? So getting a little bit of pressure through the big toe, the outside of the feet, maybe a bit of awareness if there's a little bit of an inversion or an eversion of the feet, and then cue what muscles need to be active. Not hugely important as we're going to be working our way up. We're going to be focusing on the spine. So I always find that standing postures is a really good way to get that transverse abdominis active, right? So I love if you do my course, I love the term lift the barrel. Because if you say lift the chest, what tends to happen is this. And when we're trying to avoid that hyperextension, so if you lift the barrel, back and front needs to come up, and you're going to get this nice activation of the transverse abdominis. You can see how the waist sinks in, activates, and elongates, right? And then you could add the arms, inhaling, reaching high, so that we're getting the lats, a good stretch through the lats, and all the side fascia reaching high, plugging in, and we're going to ground through the feet and reach up through the fingertips, really activating through that transverse abdominis, okay? Then we've got the fold forward, the forward fold. I like to hinge at the hips, bend the knees slightly, and booty goes back. Reason for that is because then you can get the hamstrings firing up eccentrically on the way down, all the way down, and then release at the bottom, stretching through that lower back, a nice passive stretch through the lower back. You can maybe focus on the feet again a little bit, releasing the head, getting a full stretch, but mostly the sensation is going to be at the lower back. Then my favorite is the half lift, squeezing the back body, activating the belly away from gravity, getting a little bit of that hamstring activation, so booty back still, knees are bent slightly, power in the legs, and we're going to get that tailbone to kind of kick up towards the sky or the ceiling so that you're getting that extension, contraction of the spine in this flat back, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then fold forward again. Another nice cue to have here is as you come up, activate the belly, drawing it away, and then as you go down, releasing the belly completely. So it's really important that we can activate the stabilizers and the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, but it's also really important that we can release them and relax them, okay? So those three poses, we've already started to get the core, the lower back fired up. Then from there, you can either go into a plank pose. We're going to do a low lunge to make it a little bit easier on the lower back, but also start to incorporate the hip flexors. So from standing, come forward, send one leg back, lower the knee down. Before you do arms go up, I always like to get the foot in the front to ground and then tuck the tailbone. Hands come to the front thigh and open the chest. This might be enough for some people. And then you add reaching the arms up. And what you want to target is getting that nice, strong contraction through the glutes and a very high intensity stretch of the hip flexor without increasing the back bend, which is why I like that little tail tuck before, and then bring the hands onto the front thigh so that you're not using too much musculature in the beginning to kind of get, it's not as hard, right? When you bring the hands onto the front thigh, you're just making it a little bit easier. Tuck that tailbone, open the chest. Inhale, reach the arms high. Focus through that hip flexor that's at the back, but you're still getting the benefit of the global. Tucking that tailbone slightly so that we're not hyperextending through the back. Let me show you from this angle. So we have this. This is without that control. You can see what's happening in my lower back. With the control, can you see how much more power there is? There's a little bit more controlled stretch through the hip flexor here, but I'm also not pinching, hyperextending at my lower back. And then from there, a nice plank pose. So grounding down through the fingers, lifting up through the hips. When I cue a plank, if it's for the lower back, I'll actually get people to have their hips a little higher than a plank pose. And the reason for that is, one, it reduces the strain through those paraspinal muscles, but it also allows for those lower abs to fire up a little bit too. You can lift the hips and ask for that natural curve in the lower back. It's amazing what happens when you cue it. Try it, see what happens. Strong through the arms, and then the chaturanga. So knees go down, biceps go forward, lowering all the way down onto the mat, belly's engaged. Once you're down here, it's nice to have a little bit of a release through the belly. So just let the belly go for a moment. Full breath in. Exhale. Release. Inhale. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Draw the belly in. Activate through the whole back body so you can see that extensor control. Push down the tops of the feet. Squeeze. Tuck the toes. Push back onto the knees. Next pose. Downward facing dog. Now, downward facing dog is such a great pose for the lower back. If you have the feet wide, it gives more space in the lower back, right? If you have the feet in line with the hips, a little bit less space, more of a stretch to the legs. And what you're going to aim to do, knees are bent, tailbone goes towards the top of the mat. You're going to activate the extensor muscles, release the head completely, push with the arms, belly's engaged. When I say belly, I'm trying to get that transverse abdominis, so the tailbone is going as high as possible and the rib cage is kind of moving away from the tailbone and the pelvis. From here, teeny tiny steps to the top of the mat. Half lift, fold forward, circle the arms. Back to standing, re-engage through the transverse abdominis, re-engage for lifting the barrel, and realign through the feet again. Okay, so that's just the basics of the sun salutation, how I would cue it for a lower back to get the optimum stretch, strengthen, proprioception from just a very, very simple sequence. So next up, let's actually go through the sequence together so that you can feel it in your body. All right, so we're going to activate through the spine. So we're not going to start with the sun salutations right from the get-go. We're going to start with some lower back mobilizing. First, we're going to inhale, arch the back, look up, open the shoulders, maybe wag the hips from side to side. Normally you'd have the wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. nice and in line, but for today, we're just gonna easy breezy. And then I want you to push the ground away, look towards your navel, tuck that tailbone as much as you can, maybe activate through the stomach muscles. Push, 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 push the ground away. Shift forwards and backwards a little bit. Notice where the tension lies. And then inhale, arch the back, look up, move in the breath. Exhale, push the ground away, look towards the navel, really mobilizing through the spine, opening up the chest, tailbone goes high, open. Inhale. Exhale, push the ground away, look towards your navel, tuck that tailbone as much as you can, push, push, push. Inhale, arch, look up. Exhale, round, tuck. Focus on the lower back as you're moving. Let the belly release as you open the shoulders, and let the belly contract as you tuck that tailbone. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And then from here, we're just going to do a little bit of a stretch through the QLs and the side body. So into child's pose, toes together, knees apart. If your knees are feeling a bit iffy, you can use a roller, a towel, something just to kind of give a little bit of a release in the knees, right? And if your ankles don't feel that great, you can pop something underneath the ankle. So from here, arms go forward, knees are nice and wide, extra wide for the lower back. Reaching up with the elbows onto the fingertips. Tuck the chin, lift the head. Keep the chin tucked, and you're going to walk the hands over to the left side. Left fingertips, walk a little bit further away, and then you're going to pull the right hip away from the right shoulder. Really activate the muscles so that you can pull that hip away. Now we're going to use the breath to get a little bit more stretch through the QLs, okay? So inhale deeply through that side body between the rib cage and the pelvis. And exhale. If you don't know where I'm meaning, basically this is you on the ground, and you're going to be stretching the breath between the rib cage and the hip bone. And out. 2 more times. And out. Really pulling that hip away. And out. Walk the hands back to the midline. Release the head down. Release the arms. Soften through the shoulders for a moment. Observe how the right and the left side body feels on either side of the spine. And then come back onto the fingertips. Walk the hands away a little bit more, lifting the elbows. Tuck the chin, lift the head. Right? So you're in child's pose, and you're going to walk the hands over to the left side this time. So we're going to take the right fingertips just a tiny bit further away, maybe the left fingertips too, and then you're going to pull that left hip away from the left shoulder. Really feel the stretch through the side body. Use the breath to expand between the rib cage and the pelvis. And release. Inhale, expand and stretch. And release. 2 more times. Expand. Release. Really feel the stretch between those spaces. Good. And release completely. Coming back to the midline. Turn the palms to face up. Release the arms. And then a gentle shimmy of the body from side to side, maneuvering through the hip joint and maybe even the lower back. Beautiful. Now you're going to walk the hands closer to you, coming onto all fours. And then we're going to come to standing at the top of the mat. So now we're going to start our sun salutation. Got a little bit of movement through the lower back, activated a little bit through the belly and the shoulders. Okay. So start at the top of the mat. Really ground down through the feet. Maybe close the eyes and observe how the gentle movement, the sway from side to side. Maybe observe where the legs feel a little bit tight, maybe a little bit of tension. And then travel up a little bit more and see if you can feel where the hips are sitting in relation to the lower back? Are your hips forward? Is your booty back? Are your shoulders slumped a little bit? See if you can pull them up towards the ears and then gently slide the shoulder blades back down. Turn the palms to face forward. Very gentle breath through the belly and out. Breathing in, let the belly expand. And out, let the belly come in. This time what we're going to do is we're going to lift the barrel of the rib cage up, drawing through the crown of the head, really feeling the deep, deep muscles of the transverse abdominis activate. So you're going to feel the sensation deep, deep, deep. Maybe the breath changes because it attaches to the diaphragm. Maybe the pelvic floor becomes overactive. That's okay. We're just going to work with where it is today. It's a nice big pull of the rib cage up. Beautiful. You may even feel that the pressure of the feet changes, where you are balancing from, where you're taking weight. That might change. Lifting up a little bit more if you can. Soft breaths. Good. And then release completely and observe what happens to your body. Release the shoulders. Release that lift. Release through the legs. Release the arms. This time, inhale. Lift up through the rib cage. Observe what happens at the feet, maybe the hips. Reach the arms high. Inhale, maybe even look up. Stretch through the fingertips so that you can feel the side body. Stretching up towards the ceiling, you can look up, maybe activate the back body just a tiny bit. Then we're going to bend the knees, plug in through the big toe. Booty's going to go back and feel the hamstrings fire up as you slowly lower down that eccentric control. Half lift. We're going to activate the belly, pull it away from gravity, squeeze the shoulder blades. Maybe the tailbone can go towards the ceiling even though the hamstrings are firing up. Good. Hold it here for a moment. Keep that activity happening in the belly. Those back extensors, tipping that tailbone up towards the sky. Full breath in. And as you exhale, lower down, fold, round through the spine, release completely. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale that half lift. Tailbone's going to go up. You're going to feel the hamstrings stretching and firing up. Back muscles are firing up, holding the upper body nice and in control. Good. And then fold forward. Feel that stretch again. Hands are going to plug into the mat. Let's send the right leg back behind you to start with. Let me do it this way so everyone can see. Right? So right leg steps back behind you. This time I want you to push down with the top of the back foot. Okay? Tuck your tailbone slightly and then bring the hands onto the front thigh. From here, shrug the shoulders up, open the chest. Pull your right hip towards your left knee. Push down to the top of that foot. Bella wants to be in the pictures. Tuck your tailbone a little bit more if you can. Stay here if this feels comfortable. If you're getting a really strong stretch, you can stay here, or you can add the arms to get a little bit extra. One more time. Good. And hands come down, find plank. Push in with the hands. Good. Hips are going to be slightly above the shoulders, slightly above the plank. Biceps wrap forward, holding that plank. Belly's engaged. Good. Knees can come down if you need them to. Lower all the way down onto the mat. Release your belly. Release completely. Now we're going to inhale, activate the belly. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Tighten through the back body. Squeeze your glutes. Push down the tops of the feet. Really fire up the whole back muscles. Everything around the spine, the shoulder blades, long through the crown of the head. Tuck your toes, shift back onto your knees. Downward facing dog. Knees are going to be bent. Tailbone is going to aim towards the top of the mat. Heels can go down as far as possible with the knees bent, and then push up with the arms. Nice and powerful in the arms. And then we're going to pedal out the legs. Keep those knees bent. A little bit of a calf stretch. Strengthening through that lower back. Keep pulling that tailbone towards the top of the mat. Keep that gentle lordosis in the spine. Good. And then from here, teeny tiny steps to the top of the mat. Half lift, squeeze through the back body, belly's engaged. Float down, release the belly, release the lower back. Strengthen the legs, bend the knees slightly. Inhale, reach the arms high. Hands come to heart center. Close the eyes. Feel the shift in the feet. Compare right side to left side. Start to activate those deep muscles again, lifting the barrel as high as you can get it. See if it changes through the hips, the feet. Inhale, reach the arms high. Bend the knees, eccentric control of the hamstrings all the way down, float all the way. Activate the belly and the back muscles. Half lift, booty back. Really get that hamstring stretch. That's it. Fold forward. Plant the hands. This time, the left leg is going to step back behind you for that low lunge. Hands are going to come onto the front thigh. Push down the top of that back foot. Pull the left hip into the right knee. Well, towards the right knee. It's obviously not going to get there. Shrug the shoulders, open the chest. This might be enough. Tuck that tailbone if you're feeling a little bit more of an arch in that lower back. And then inhale, reach the arms high if you want a little bit more. And out. One more time. And out. Hands come down, find that plank. Good. Lift the hips slightly so that you can feel the lower abs engage, that the lower back is not struggling. Push with the arms, biceps wrap forward. Good. If you need to, lower the knees. If not, lower all the way down. Release the belly completely. Release the shoulders. Release the lower back. Good. Inhale, baby cobra. Back body's engaged. Squeeze the glutes so the hips drive into the mat. Push down the tops of the feet. Keep activating through the back body. Keep breathing. And then you're going to float onto your knees. Bend the knees, downward facing dog. Push with the arms. Let's see if the chest can aim towards the thighs, but keep the curve of the lower back. And the tailbone is going to aim towards the front of the mat. So you're going to feel this really good contraction through the lower back muscles here. You're going to feel the hamstrings stretching a little bit, maybe even the calves. If you need a bit of space in the lower back, it doesn't feel like it's comfortable, take the feet wide. 2 more breaths, yeah. One more. And then walk the feet to the front of the mat. Half lift, bend the knees, activate the belly, pull the shoulders back. Whole back body is active. Hamstrings are active and stretching. Booty is back. Ready to stick that booty back. Good. Fold forward, release through the lower back. Clasp opposite elbows for ragdoll. Release the head completely. Hands come onto the front shin. Roll up segment by segment all the way to standing. This time, stay long through the crown of the head. Keep lifting the rib cage. Bend the knees. Inhale, reach the arms high. Stretch up, maybe a small back bend so that you're firing through that back body again. Swan dive, bend the knees. All the way down, eccentric control. Half lift. Back body is active, booty back. This time the hands are going to come down and we're going to take little hops or a big hop all the way to plank pose. You can lower the knees down if you need. 3 breaths. We're almost there. One more breath. Good. Nice. From here, lower all the way down onto the mat. Release the belly, release the shoulders, release the lower back. If your back is starting to feel a bit pinchy, take the feet wide. Shoulders come up, squeeze through the back body, push down the tops of the feet, drive the hips into the mat. Breathe. See if you can draw your belly away from the ground. Good. Tuck the toes, keep the legs wide if they are wide, and then downward facing dog. Knees are bent, tailbone is high, aiming towards the front of the mat. Push with the arms. Beautiful. One more breath. See if you can draw the belly a little bit more up, maybe even the back body. See if you can open it a bit more. Send the rib cage and the pelvis away from each other. And then walk the feet to the front of the mat. One more time, half lift. Fire up the back body. Bend the knees, booty up. Nice. Fold forward. Release the lower back, release the belly, soften. I'm going to do that one more time. Half lift. Fold. Release through the back and the belly. Hands come onto the front shin, roll up, segment by segment, all the way to standing. Hands come to heart center. Close the eyes. Soften the breath. Great job. So you should feel nice and warm through this part of your body. Should feel nice and fired up. You should feel how you can really get into those back muscles, releasing the ones that make it niggly. So you get that full body effect by using one very, very simple yoga sequence. So if you want to, you can go into a pigeon pose. So let's do the right side first. Externally rotate through the front leg. It's just going to stretch out through the piriformis muscle, which is always nice for lower back pain. And then you're going to fold over the legs. You can just go onto your forearms, or if you have a block or something. And you can hang out in pigeon pose for about 8 breaths on each side while you listen to my next ramble. So I often get asked who the clinical yoga course is for. And quite simply, it's for anybody in the healthcare industry that understands biomechanics and anatomy, that wants to enhance their practice. It's going to save your hands, it's going to create enjoyment, it's going to be a very versatile and functional exercise that you can give clients. Something that you can do with them, something that they can take home to do. So prescription exercise with some flair and some magic. The beauty of it is that you're achieving so much in one group of exercises. So even if your sequence is 10 to 15 minutes long, it will still achieve so much in that person's life. So the next question that I'm asked on a regular basis is how I personally apply the clinical yoga to my practice. So I have a slot, a period of time in my diary where I only see clinical yoga classes or clients. Because it's prescription exercise, they can claim from their insurance companies. I do a couple of classes during the week. That's very biomechanics, very anatomy based. So a lot of my clients that see me for physiotherapy land up going to my class, absolutely love it. And then they don't tend to need physio as much, which is so great for them. And they bring new clients in because they're so excited by the holistic approach that the yoga can give them. So I'll do some hands-on stuff when it's needed, and then when they're ready for prescription exercise, then I'll bring in some basic exercises, do my assessment with some of the yoga poses, and then launch into a yoga sequence. And sometimes, like I said, it'll be 10 minutes, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes. I also allow them to record the session so that they can redo that session on their own if that's what they feel like they want to do. previous cohorts, what they've done is one of my favorite attendees, she started doing yoga in a local community yoga center, which she's absolutely thrilled and loving, and she's getting really good feedback because she's very focused on the anatomy and putting people inside their body. I have another one who has worked with ultramarathon runners, triathletes, started doing short sequences with them before or after their training, and they're finding that they're having less injuries. I'm trying to think of some other examples. There's so many. One, she is an ultra marathon runner and has a group of girls, ladies, that run together. And then they will do once a week where she will teach them yoga. And then this class has progressed and got more and more and more popular. So now she's actually making a pretty decent income for an hour of work because she's so anatomy based that it appeals to the average athlete. There's a couple of the physiotherapists, occupational therapists that have incorporated the yoga into their practice, and they're more energized. They're not having to use their hands as much. Their clients, they're finding that their clients are more likely to do their exercises. And then the biggest factor with that is that they're finding, which we all know, is that people are getting this mind-body connection as well as some mental health and wellness aspect to it, which is so important. I did this really soft, fluid survey last week, and I probably see about 55 to 65 clients a week. And I think last week I was like at 62, and I want to say 50 of them reported to be stressed or not sleeping well. And those two things are devastating for recovery and rejuvenation from a rehabilitative perspective. We know that people need to get good food, good rest, and avoid stress if they want to recover really well. Put their body in a position where they're going to recover and rehab really well. On a personal note, I had the most amazing experience with a young athlete who, I mean, by Bermuda standards, Carifta Games is, or by UK standards or world standards, Carifta Games is a really small little piece of the pie. But his US coach suggested when he went home to Bermuda that he incorporate some yoga. The only thing he did was incorporate yoga twice a week, and he nailed his personal best. Like, kicked out of the park. It was amazing. He was so thankful. His mom was so thankful. He now does yoga on a regular basis in the US. But just, I mean, I think I saw him maybe 3 or 4 weeks, 2 sessions a week. He did some stuff on his own, taught him some breathing exercises for before he competes, some breathing exercises for after he does his workouts, and how to focus with the breath, you know, before he does his sprints. And then the yoga poses, teaching him why it's important to activate and to stretch certain muscles because they're so dominant in the sprinting action. So I think that is everything. Let's talk about finances for a quick second. Everybody, we need to make a living. And as wonderful as yoga is and therapeutic as it is, it's also a good way to have some extra income. So I don't know about the rest of the world, but in Bermuda, a yoga class averages between $20 to $30. I do mine for $20 because most of them are my clients or ex-clients for my physio practice. And I normally average between, 15 to 20 people. So you can, like, for an hour's work, now that I've built up the practice and I've built up the following, I can make anywhere from $350 to $400 an hour doing that. I mean, obviously you're not going to do that every hour back to back, or you could. But yeah, and it's such an easy way of getting and facilitating a large group of people. It's affordable for them because it's only $20 versus 120 to 200 for one-on-one sessions with me. So just so you can kind of see from a cost perspective for your clients and for yourself that there is a good business model behind it. Start small and then slowly introduce clients bit by bit as you get comfortable being able to watch that many bodies and give really good feedback. So yeah, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the short yoga sequence. Hopefully the body fired up and got nice and warm. You can replay that yoga sequence. I can have that, just that little bit separate maybe, and that you can do that on a regular basis. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Oh, one more thing, little blooper. If you have any questions, if you are a student or have a group that wants to book, please contact Breeze Academy. They are willing to do calls with the tutors and to discuss the discounts and help you in any way they can possibly do that. And again, have a wonderful day. Namaste.